Mr. Sutton here, bringing you the IM3 Chapter 2, Quiz 1, Extra Practice Number 2 solutions on reviewing basic factoring, common factors, all that kind of stuff. There's a puzzle that goes along with this one. Let's take a look at that now. So here's the puzzle that we're trying to solve. We're trying to solve the riddle, what did the girl melon say when the boy melon proposed marriage? And then we have to go through all of these different pairs of factors and things that are multiplied out, trinomials, and circle the statements that are true. Whenever we get a true statement, we look at the number here, and for example, if this first one, 3-S, was a true statement, we'll check to see if it is in a minute, but if it is, then we would put an S next to spot number 3 down there, and that's how all of these are going to work. And if it's not true, then we just move on to the next one. All right, let's get moving. All right, so here we are on 3-S. Let's see if this is actually a true statement. So we'll start by foiling this out and multiplying it out. So we've got x times x, that's x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 2 gives us 10. Then we have the 2x and the 5x, like terms that we can combine. So that'll give us a 7x in the middle to go with our x squared and our plus 10. And that matches what they said that it should. So this is yes, this is true. So that means we're going to put an S next to the 3 in this box down here. All right, for this next one, trying to see if this is a true statement, let's multiply it out. So t times t is t squared. We have t times negative 1, that's negative 1t. Negative 7 times t, we have negative 7t. And then finally, negative 7 times negative 1, that's a positive 7. Negative t plus negative 7t is negative 8t. And that all matches what they said it should up here. So we put an A next to 9. Let's multiply this one out to see if this is a true statement. So n times n is n squared. That's good. N times negative 3, negative 3n. Negative 9 times n is negative 9n. Negative 9 times negative 3 gives us positive 27. Negative 3 minus 9 with an n next to it, that's going to be negative 12n in the middle there. And that's different from the negative 6n that they have up here. So this is false, and we don't get anything out of this. We just move on. For this one, we've got u times u. That's going to be u squared. Just checking to see if this comes out true. U times 6 is plus 6u. Negative 3 times u, that's negative 3u. And then negative 3 times positive 6, that comes out to negative 18. 6u minus 3u is positive 3u in the middle. And all of that matches what they put up here, so that's true. And we can put an E next to 16 down below here. Let's take a closer look at this one, 6-t, to see if this is true. So a times a is a squared. A times negative 8, that's negative 8a. 9 times a is 9a. 9 times negative 8 is negative 72. Negative 8a plus 9a is going to give us a positive 1a in the middle there. And that all matches what we have up here, so that's true. And we can put a t next to 6 down here. Let's check out 7-r to see if this is true. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 10, that's negative 10x. 4 times x, that's 4x. And 4 times negative 10, that's negative 40. Adding up those middle like terms there, we have negative 6x in the middle. That's different from the negative 14x that they have up here. So this is false, and we just move on. Check out 14-O to see if this is true. 3m times m is giving us 3m squared. 3m times 5, that's going to be a plus 15m. 1 times m is 1m, adding that. And then 1 times 5 is 5. 15m plus m gives us 16m in the middle. And everything else seems to line up with what they have up here, so that's true. And we put an O next to 14. Let's multiply this out to see if 5-n is actually a true statement. 8d times 2d, that's going to be 16d squared. 8d times 1 is 8d, so we're adding that. 3 times 2d, we have a plus 6d. And then 3 times 1, that's going to be a plus 3. 8d plus 6d, those like terms there, that adds up to 14d. And just checking to see if everything matches up. The first two terms match up, but the 3 here is different from the 4 they have up here. So this actually doesn't match, and we move on to the next one. All right, let's multiply this one out and check out the truth of this. So 2k times 3k, that's 6k squared. 2k times negative 2, that's negative 4k. Negative 4 times 3k, that's negative 12k. And then negative 4 times negative 2, positive 8. Negative 4k minus 12k, that's a total of negative 16k in the middle. Everything else seems to match up. The 6k squared, the positive 8, it all matches. So that's true, and we can put an I next to number 7. Check out 12-E now. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times negative 6, that's negative 6x. 8 times 2x, we have a positive 16x. And then 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. Negative 6x plus 16x, that's a total of 10x in the middle. So it looks like we've got a match with what they said up here. That's true. So E is going to be what we put for number 12. Let's check out 2-A. 4n times n, that's 4n squared. 4n times 5 is a plus 20n. Negative 2 times n, that's negative 2n. And negative 2 times 5 gives us negative 10. 20n minus 2n, that's going to be 18n. And that does not line up with what they have up here. They have a 22n instead. So we're going to make that false and move on. 1-y, let's FOIL this out and see if it works. 3v times 5v is 15v squared. 3v times 4, that's plus 12v. Negative 2 times 5v is negative 10v. And then negative 2 times 4 is going to be negative 8. 12v minus 10v, that's going to be 2v in the middle. And that looks like everything matches up there, so that's true. So we put a y under 1. Let's FOIL this out to see if this is a true statement now, 11-I. So 2y times 3y, that's 6y squared. 2y times negative 1, that's negative 2y. 9 times 3y is plus 27y. And then 9 times negative 1, we've got negative 9. Negative 2y plus 27y is 25y. And that almost matches what we've got up here, but they have a 5y instead of a 6. It looks like they added the 2 and 3 instead of multiplying them. So that's false, and we move on. Let's see if 5-U is a true statement. 2w times 5w is 10w squared. 2w times 4 is 8w. Negative 6 times 5w, now we're subtracting 30w. And then negative 6 times 4, that's going to be negative 24. 8w minus 30w, so let's see, 30 minus 8 is 22, negative is bigger, so negative 22w in the middle. That matches everything else up there, so that's a true statement, and U goes under 5. All right, let's check out 8-D. 8x times 4x, that's going to give us 32x squared. 8x times 3 is 24x. Negative 1 times 4x, that's negative 4x. And negative 1 times 3, we've got negative 3. 24x minus 4x is going to be 20x. And that looks like it's going to be different from what we have. They have 24x up here. We have 20x. So that's a false statement up there, assuming that we did this correctly. And we keep going. For 11-T, let's multiply all this out. So 3x times 3x, that's going to be 9x squared. 3x times negative 2, that's going to be negative 6x. 2 times 3x is going to be a positive 6x. And then 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Negative and positive 6x, those are going to cancel, leaving us with just 9x squared minus 4. So that is a true statement based on what they wrote. So 11 then is actually T. Let's multiply this thing out to see if it comes out the way they say it should. A times 2a, that's 2a squared. A times b is plus ab, one of those. B times 2a is a plus 2ab. And then b times b is going to be b squared. Adding up those middle terms, we have a 3ab in the middle. And that lines up with what they said here. So then we put a b under 4. let's try another one out to see if it's true. 15-a this time. So 2c times c is 2c squared. 2c times negative d, that's negative 2cd. 6d times c, that's 6cd if we just write it alphabetically, and that's positive. 6d times negative d, that's a negative 6d squared. Negative 2cd and 6cd, that all adds up to give me 4cd in the middle. And that's not the same as the 8cd, so this is false, and we have to move on. Let's try out 2-e now. So we have 4x times 3x giving me 12x squared. 4x times 2y is going to be 8xy, positive. Negative y times 3x, that's negative 3xy. And negative y times 2y is negative 2y squared. So in the middle, 8xy minus 3xy, that's 5xy. Keep the coefficient, change the coefficient, keep the variables the same. And does that match what I have up here? It looks like everything's a match. So 2 is going to be E. Let's try out 8-c now to see if this is true. 2u times 2u is 4u squared. 2u times negative 8, that's negative 16uv. Negative 5v times 2u, that's negative 10uv. And negative 5v times negative 8v is going to be positive 40v squared. Negative 16uv minus 10uv, that all gives me a negative 26uv in the middle. Looks like everything matches what we have up here, so this is a true statement. So C is what I'm putting for 8. And I'm getting close. I just have 3 blanks left. Multiplying out 10-p now. 9a times 2a is 18a squared. 9a times 5b, that's 45ab, positive. b times 2a is a plus 2ab. b times 5b, that's a plus 5b squared. 45 and 2 gives me a 47ab in the middle. That all lines up with what we have here, except they have a negative 5b squared and we have a positive one. So that's false. On to the next. All right, let's try this one out. 2a times a, that's 2a squared. 2a times 10b is 20ab, positive. Negative 2b times a, that's negative 2ab in the middle. And then negative 2b times 10b, negative 20b squared. 20 and negative 2ab, that gives me a total of 18ab in the middle. That's way different than what they wrote up here, so that's false, and we still haven't found what we're looking for. All right, let's see if this one comes out true. We've hit a dry spell on those true statements. 7m times m is 7m squared. 7m times negative 3n, that's negative 21mn. n times m is just mn, positive one of those. And then n times negative 3n, that's negative 3n squared. Negative 21 and 1 mn in the middle gives me a negative 20 mn. Along with the other terms, it looks like everything matches up, so we finally hit another true statement. And 15 is going to be a p, so right there. All right, let's test out this crazy statement here. X squared times x squared is x to the 2 plus 2, so x to the 4th. X squared times negative 9, that's negative 9x squared. Negative 4 times x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times negative 9 is 36. So we have we have like terms in the middle here. These x squareds can be combined. That's a negative 13x squared there. Nothing else can be combined though, but it doesn't need to because that matches our statement up here. This is true. So 10 is n, and we are one blank away from solving this thing. All right, let's multiply this one out. So 3-d. I have a feeling it's not going to work because we already have something for 3, but let's just do it anyway. So k squared times k squared is k to the 4th. K squared times 3, that's going to be 3k squared. Negative 6 times k squared is negative 6k squared. And negative 6 times 3, that's negative 18. All that stuff in the middle adds up to a negative 3k squared, different from the negative 9 they have up there. So that is indeed false. All right, let's try this one out. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times negative 2y, that's going to be negative 2x squared y. 2y times x squared, that's a positive 2x squared y. 2y times negative 2y is negative 4y squared. It looks like we've got like terms here, and they're going to cancel out. So that's just x to the fourth minus 4y squared, which matches what they have there. So that means we have an L going in 13. All right, awesome. So then to solve the puzzle, what did the girl melon say when the boy melon proposed marriage? Yes, but I can't elope. Like cantaloupe, but I can't elope, like get married in secret. Anyway, Mr. Sutton signing off.